Okay, perfect. We should be ready to go. So, hey, Lauren, nice to meet you here this morning. How's your morning going?
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here. My morning's good. How is yours?
Awesome.
Good.
Lemon is ready for the day. That's the most important thing,
I'm
right?
glad. I love it.
Okay, so what we're going to be doing here today is we're going to go ahead and talk about your summer internship. So, I'll
Yes.
let you start by taking it away, just kind of introduce yourself, and maybe introduce your internship, and then we'll get started.
Okay, well, hello. I am Lauren. I am a fashion merchandising major at Cal State Long Beach, and I have a minor in marketing. And this past summer, I had the opportunity, which I'm very grateful for, to have a women's buying internship for swim and activewear at PacSun.
Very exciting. Sounds like a very cool thing to be involved in, and also awesome that it's a local company. Where are they based at?
Anaheim, so not
Awesome.
far. Yeah.
Awesome. So, how did you hear about this internship?
I actually heard about it through LinkedIn. I am a chronic LinkedIn scroller, and I'm always looking for different jobs and opportunities and internships. So, in the beginning of the year, I came across this summer internship and I just applied through LinkedIn.
So, you probably think LinkedIn is important and good for job connections and whatnot, right?
Yes, it is gold. It is pure gold.
Okay, good. I think students need to hear that. I'm
hmm
constantly telling students that they need to get a LinkedIn profile, and I can tell a
Yes.
lot of people are hesitant of that. Any kind of
Yeah.
advice or suggestions there?
Yeah, definitely make a LinkedIn account if you don't already have one. I started my LinkedIn account my freshman year, and actually a professor of mine prompted us to do it. And I'm so happy that she did because I have used it nonstop. And I've honestly met people through LinkedIn. People will reach out more often than you think. And I think it's kind of like a mind game of it being social media, but it really is so useful in networking in the job world. So definitely start one.
I agree with you saying about the kind of the mind game of social media. I think some
hmm
students are kind of intimidated. They think that they need to have these very polished posts, very polished
Right.
pictures, and
hmm
um, I mean, yes, it's nice to have polished things, but it's also just nice to get on there and start seeing the
Yeah.
jobs that are out there and the
Yeah.
connections that you can make.
Yeah. Just move at your own pace. And I didn't even start posting until I was, like a senior in college. So yeah,
Perfect.
take your
Yeah.
time.
Okay. So, kind of going with that, you found this
hmm
on LinkedIn. What steps did you go to apply? And do you have any tips on application processes? It could be for PacSun or just in general. Any tips that you
Yeah.
have?
Yeah, so once I found the job posting on LinkedIn, I did a little more research. Always make sure that it's a valid posting. I checked on the PacSun website. And then I read the job description and obviously made sure that it fit with my schedule and with my plans. And then once I approved that, I tailored my resume to fit exactly that because that's what my goal was to get. And I also tailored my LinkedIn bio. So always have your LinkedIn account linked on your resume so employers can look at that and see a little bit more about you. And yeah, so my bio and my resume kind of matched. And then I applied through LinkedIn, like I said earlier, three interviews total. Once they had reached out to me, the first one was with the recruiting manager, who they kind of are the ones looking out for future candidates. And then I went further and an interview with both of the buyers that I could potentially work for. And then lastly, I have an interview with the divisional merchandise manager who's like, she's like the boss of everyone. So, yeah. And then with that, I would say my advice is to research beforehand, know who you're going to be talking to. I had the names of the people I was going to be talking to. So I definitely looked them up on LinkedIn, looked up what they did and like what exactly a divisional merchandise manager was because I honestly wasn't sure at first. And yeah, obviously research the company. I always make sure I know their mission statement, their values, their goals, and make sure it aligns with you. Because you want to make sure you can let them know that I really appreciate the values of this company and I think I could contribute to that.
That's great advice. I mean, you just covered so many things that are so valuable and so important. I think one of the areas you touched on that students might not be fully aware of is making sure that your LinkedIn profile and your resume match up. I've heard that
Match.
from recruiters a lot, that they'll see this amazing resume and then they go to your LinkedIn page and it says something completely different. And then they're
Mm-hmm.
kind of like, well, how passionate are you about this if it's not
Exactly,
matching up?
exactly.
And researching the
Mm-hmm.
company, knowing the mission statement, linking with all the individuals that are going to be in the interview process and understanding their roles. That's
Yes,
just perfect. Kudos
100%.
to you.
Thank you. It makes you feel more confident while interviewing too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I
Yeah,
can definitely see that, right? You kind of
yeah,
know the role, you know the higher ups, you've seen their faces possibly even before
yes,
from LinkedIn. So yeah, that makes a
exactly.
lot of sense that you'd feel more confident then. For this particular role at PacSun, were there any special qualifications, like, skills that you think either one were necessary or helped you secure, like maybe you went kind of above and beyond?
Yeah, so with this internship, they had the knowledge that, a lot of us aren't going to have a lot of buying experience or whatever field you were going into. So that was something that calmed my nerves because they didn't have high expectations in that sense. But they told me that they prioritize merchandising majors. So yeah, it definitely was a plus that I had a fashion merchandising major. And then I also had retail experience. So they knew that I had an understanding of retail, at least on the customer facing end. And then I had volunteer work in fashion too. So I think having somewhat of an understanding of the field that you're interviewing for, and if that doesn't apply to you, at least being able to research it and show that you have some understanding, and then on top of that, since I didn't have the hard skills that they were looking for, with like LinkedIn and actual buying, they really looked for soft skills. So that's like communication and being able to work with a team and things like that. And honestly, throughout the internship, they gave kudos to a lot of the interns for having soft skills. So I would definitely make sure that you have those. Or just at least practice. It could be intimidating to work in a team and to be able to communicate in a corporate environment. It was definitely intimidating to me, but I don't know. Yeah, just remember that you're more than paper. You're not just the resume, and people and employers really do notice that in the workplace.
Yeah, and bring up a great mention on, these employers and recruiters are aware that you are a student. So they are
Mhm.
aware that those hard skills are possibly going to be limited, and especially in like a merchandising type of
Yeah,
situation.
100%.
You haven't had a job doing buying before in a
Yeah,
corporate office. If you had, you probably would be out of school by now.
exactly.
So that leads us to kind of, I'm sure there wasn't like a typical day, but
Mhm.
just kind of describe what maybe, some of your favorite days or what a day could look like if you were in this internship, just to give students a better feel.
Yeah, definitely right. Each day varied quite a bit. My favorite days were when we had intern learning experiences. So we would go to each field, like each, I guess, different category and role within the PacSun headquarters and kind of learn about their responsibilities as an intern group. So we learned about, like sourcing and product development and design. So we kind of got a feel for all fields, even if we weren't interning for them. But a more typical day when we didn't have like fun little learning sessions, it would just look like me clocking in, touching base with my buyer that I was working under, and then also her merch coordinator, which is like an entry level position for buying at PacSun. I would work on my own personal assigned tasks. So I had projects weekly that were assigned by my buyer. And then I also had an intern group project. And sometimes I would have other tasks that my buyer needed help with, like inputting purchase orders or filling out an sort sheet, things like that. And then after that, throughout the day, we'd have scattered meetings with different teams. We worked most with design and with product development. So we would be alternating which floor we were on, talking to them, and just kind of planning certain things that needed to get done that day. And then also some days I would be helping my merch coordinator organize samples to pass down to the photo studio to be shot for the website and different photo shoots. And after that and lunch and everything, I would just go back to my own personal tasks and kind of just help where I was needed. And that was pretty much it for the day.
Perfect. Do you mind explaining a little bit more about what the intern project was?
Yeah, so we were actually the first intern group to do this, but we had a group project where we were honest like we were randomly assigned to different interns, and our task was to basically create um, kind of like a brand expansion opportunity for PacSun. And the whole idea of it was to work with cross-functional partners because I was working with a design intern, a product development intern, and a finance intern. And for us, we came up with Pack Van, so like a mobile van that goes to different music festivals or
Very
flagship stores
cool.
and things like that. But everybody had different ideas, and it was honestly so cool to hear what everyone came up with.
That's cool. It's also cool
Yeah.
because that's a project that we do in FMD 151 where you have
Mhm.
to do like
Yes.
an extension brand.
Yeah, I felt very prepared for that, and we
Yay!
presented it. I know, I felt very prepared. I was like, "I got this group project, Canva, it's all there for me." And we presented it to all of our bosses and some of the executives of PacSun, so it was definitely a cool experience.
Wow. Well, if they ever use your idea, hopefully they fork over some
I
money
know. Right.
to so since we kind of just touched on that there is a class project that does something like that, were
Mhm.
there any classes that you feel really better prepared you for the internship, or was it just more learning, on site?
Yeah, so for things like the group project and my personal projects that I presented to my buyers each week, I feel that all of my fashion classes prepared me because I know how to put together a presentation and actually present it. But more specifically geared towards buying, I would say the fashion retail management, I believe it's 356. I think. But yeah,
I
yeah,
can't remember.
356,
Okay, three five
fashion
six. Okay.
retail management. That helped me a lot just familiarizing myself with what an assort sheet looks like, what the buying sheets look like. A lot of the terms that I heard from that class, I heard in PacSun, so like open to buy
Right.
and like inventory turnover and things like that. And then I would also say FMD 350 fashion forecasting helped me a lot because I really needed to stay on top of trends.
Right.
I actually had to like I was taking a break from my social media, had to download it all again because I could not be behind on what was trending. We would have like monthly trend alignment meetings with all of the women's merch team. So yeah, definitely forecasting and having those resources that I learned about like WGSN
Right.
and things like that really helped
Right.
me.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So do you feel, or is the in any way did you, grow professionally or personally from this internship, like, kind of trying to help students see how they could feel about themselves, or what this could um be for them afterwards? Like, what did you walk
Mhm.
away with, kind of?
Mhm. 100%. I learned so much from this internship personally and professionally. I think my biggest thing was walking into a corporate office. I felt like a little baby, like just a gazelle, like at a watering hole. Like I felt so scared. And I quickly realized that like that mindset is not going to work for me. And I had to kind of reboot my mind and really ingrain it in there that I was supposed to be there, I belonged there. I
Yeah.
would say imposter syndrome is so
Mm.
huge in things like this, and I knew it was coming, but I didn't realize how hard it would hit. So I definitely had to get past that. And I guess just finding my voice professionally, I really learned to
Mm.
reach out to people. Um, they all seemed super intimidating at first, but every single person I spoke to at PacSun was so kind and so welcoming and so eager to share their knowledge with me. And I think just kind of like remembering that they're a person and they started out too, wherever
Yeah.
you are, even if it's, the CEO. The CEO I spoke to, she was so kind and like willing to hear me out and on things. So I would just say don't be afraid to find your voice and to show your personality in the workplace. But there's also finding that balance of staying professional and maintaining professional relationships and kind of balancing all of that together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just even see a difference in confidence in you after this
Oh,
internship.
thank
So
you.
I definitely feel that you gained quite a bit of confidence and soft skills from the opportunity, which also is
Thanks.
testament to them and what they're providing
Hmm.
students, right? That you're able to kind of step away and be like, I've gained not just professionally but personally from this. So that does
Hmm.
kind of bring me to are there any hard skills that you think that you gained, things that you
Hmm.
were excited then to be able to put on your resume, like I now know how to do these hard skills that are going to be important for the industry?
Yeah, well, I definitely know how to input a purchase order.
Yeah.
So, once anyone watching this has an experience like that, you will definitely understand that like you will know how to input a purchase order. Um, I know how to work LinkedIn a little, or not LinkedIn, sorry, Excel, but
Mhm.
LinkedIn too. But Excel sheets, I definitely can navigate easier and understand what I'm looking at. I saw a lot of different types of sheets and
Yeah,
different types of corporate calendars and I my vocabulary has expanded with
right.
certain buying terms. And also, I think a huge one for me was realizing that different companies have different lingo for the same
Right.
thing. So,
Yes.
when I was in my first few meetings, especially for like monthly forecasting, like financially, I was so lost and I had my buyer break it down to me. And it was all terms that I had heard in fashion retail management class. And they just said different things for it. So, like, I had to realize that when they say turn, that just means inventory turnover and how fast something is like being bought. And just things like that. And then, yeah, I would also, even just small things like emailing. I was so scared to
Mhm.
send emails from my computer just to someone else from a different department.
Right.
But I definitely gained more of a confidence in that skill of just sending emails to people and how to word things, how to put things, how to sign off, and things like that.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to the lingo thing, especially as
Hmm.
a teacher, because
Yeah.
sometimes I warn students like this is what we call it, but like I don't want you then to go to an internship and if they call it something
Yeah.
different, be like my
Yeah.
teacher said.
Yeah. We literally had, luckily, they train one of the financial, like finance girls. She sat some of the buying interns down and gave us like a buying vocab lesson. And it was all terms that I was familiar with. They just had different names.
Well, that's nice that they at least gave a lesson. A lot of these places,
Yeah.
they're so used to the terms that they use that
Hmm.
they forget that they aren't common knowledge. Like at
Yeah.
Target, there's all these, I used to work at Target and there's all these little lingos, like the little handheld computers that you use when you're in the store called zebras. But
Hmm.
like if you don't know, someone would be like,
No,
go
yeah.
get your zebra. And I'm like, there's
Yeah.
zebras?
No, yeah, a big one also was they would say receipts for sales. And I was like,
Oh
"What is
yeah.
a receipt?" To like, because I'm thinking like physical receipt. And then I realized it just meant sales. And I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay."
Yeah. Another one at Target was they had like this rack for the returns at the guest services, like the front, and they'd
Hmm.
call it a Penelope. But then like
Oh,
you hear people say like go pick up the Penelope. And so you're like, well, what person and why is Penelope
yeah,
always here?
exactly, exactly. You could be so lost for like the first 3 weeks.
It happens
Mhm.
everywhere though.
Mhm.
Any like just, even sales job to corporate job, even some rooms have nicknames and stuff. And it's just the one thing I would tell students is just to ask, because odds
Yeah.
are it's lingo that they've been using for years that you just don't know. And
Yeah.
you're not going to know unless you just ask.
Yeah, and building off of that, another piece of advice is do not be afraid to ask questions. I was so annoying with questions, and I would tell them before letting them with questions, like, "I'm sorry, but it needs to happen," and no one ever cared, and they would answer all of my questions, and it helped me so much.
Yeah, I almost think sometimes in those situations, granted, who you're working for and whatnot has work to do, but it does kind of make them flattered because it
Mhm.
gives them a space, especially if you're asking someone that's in an entry level position. It gives them
Yeah.
space to limit that imposter syndrome, because then they're also
Yeah.
like, wow, I can answer this question. Like
Yeah,
I
exactly.
am learning here. I'm growing here as I'm teaching somebody. And so I do think sometimes it can be flattering to those that are
Mhm.
above you, when asked at the appropriate moments and time, of course. But so, yeah,
100%.
I agree with that. So you've already given a lot of advice. I don't know if you have any other, it's just one of my questions that I have next is, what advice would you give students applying for internships in this field? I don't know if you have anything else to share because you've actually
Mhm.
given quite a bit of advice already, which is fantastic.
Yeah, I'll just keep it short and sweet. I would just say definitely keep your resume updated, don't put it off.
Hmm.
For me, when I see a job opportunity and I can just say easy apply and link my resume, perfect, because I've just been updating it as I go. Um, and it's so much easier to write your job description when you're actually working the job. And
Yeah,
yeah, so easier to procrastinate when you don't have your resume updated. So keep that updated. Apply to everything you see that interests you. You never know who's gonna reach out, and you never know what's
right.
going to fall in line for you. So if I see something that interests me, I just apply to it, even if I don't get it, like, it's okay.
Yeah,
And then also follow up after you have an interview. Always follow up. Just, like, don't think it's weird, it's never weird. You can show up in person, and I don't think anyone would say anything about that, unless it's, like, a corporate headquarters, don't do that, but you could always call, and, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Just don't be afraid to show your personality, and don't be afraid to follow up.
I love it. Just kind of a personal question here. I'm just curious. Do you use AI to assist at all when you're writing your resume?
Yeah, I do 100%. I don't think that there's anything wrong with using AI to help you tailor
Hmm.
things, because other people are doing it, and
Right.
so if you wanna stick out, you kind of have to keep up, and, yeah, I don't have AI write anything for me. I write my own thing, and then if anything, I just will have it, polish some vocab,
Right.
kind of like putting it through Grammarly, things like that.
Right. Yeah. I think that's very good advice. I've been hearing recruiters say that you
Yeah.
should be using it for, grammatical errors, spelling
Mhm.
errors, but right, that you're writing it, but that you're having, yeah, like whether it be Grammarly or just Chat GPT or whatnot, just kind of
Yeah.
polish it. So, okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you wish you knew before you started the internship, or you felt like all
Um,
good?
I feel like I just wish I knew that it was gonna be okay, like, I was so nervous
Oh,
to
yeah. Yeah.
start,
Yeah. All
but
that
I
time you
wish
spent nervous.
so nervous and all for what? Because I just made so many good friendships, so many good business, like, connections and people that I
Mhm.
still keep in touch with, and I know that I'll see in the industry now. So, yeah, I wish I could just go and tell myself on the first day to, like, relax, 'cause it's gonna be
Yeah, for
okay.
sure. I like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. It's all gonna be okay.
Mhm.
Did the internship change your perspective at all on your potential career path?
I'm still very, very set on buying, but I would say that PacSun is a company that really encourages their employees to grow and do it
Ah,
in their own way. So they encourage people to actually try out different roles. So you could be a buyer and they notice that you're very creative and they're like, okay, maybe you should like try out brand creative and marketing. And I really appreciate that within PacSun because I'm someone who wants to do everything. Like I told my buyer that I was interested in social media, marketing,
mhm.
buying, and like influencer PR and things like that. And she was like, okay, I'm gonna help you set up meetings with all of those people. And I did. And design too. And they gave me so much insight to their career and how I could get into that, even if that's not my major and things like
Uh,
that. So I definitely have the confidence that I could enter a different role other than buying and be okay. But yeah, I'm still
that's
pretty
cool.
set on buying.
That's really, really cool though,
Yeah.
that they,
Yeah.
yeah, because I think sometimes too, companies, good companies need to be able to utilize not just what you want to do, but also the skills that you may already have. And like
Mm-hmm.
also identifying that if you have a passion for something, you may be more willing to learn and grow. So kind of trying
Exactly.
to make sure, your employee is happy and being
Yeah.
fulfilled is
Yeah.
good for
It
retention.
was awesome. I was surprised and I was really appreciative when they told me that.
Cool. Looking back, was there like a most rewarding part, or was it just all rewarding?
It was also rewarding, but I would say the biggest thing was the relationships that I built. I do feel like I gained some genuine friends from it, and I don't have any doubt in my mind that I couldn't reach out to people in the future. Even like the executives, I feel like I could reach out to, and they would help me out if I ever needed anything in the future. Um, and just the professional confidence that it built in me overall. I don't feel scared to graduate in the future. I don't feel scared to enter a corporate level job. And yeah, I think those are the main two.
I love it. And I'm so unbelievably proud of you. I think it's
Thank
such a
you.
great accomplishment. And of course, since I used to work at PacSun in the buying
Yeah.
department, it's like fun for me because I can actually visualize like where you were
Yeah.
and what you were doing. I will
Yeah.
tell you, I also had a bit of that like imposter syndrome. And then my first like holiday party there, we had a white elephant and I stole a gingerbread house from the CEO. So and everybody and I entry level position, I was an assistant to the entire buying department, women's buying department, and everybody gasped. And I like didn't
Yeah.
know what I had done. I was like, "Well, she
But
has the
that's how it
gingerbread
is.
house," and I
When
won
I was
it.
there, yeah, when I was there, someone threw a water balloon at our CMO and like I was like I was shocked, but it was okay. Like it's okay. It's so relaxed there. And that's
Yeah,
PacSun though. I wouldn't do that at every single company, but like they're very relaxed.
Yeah, she came up to me afterwards and told me it was okay because I was like almost in tears. I was like, "That's what white
Oh,
elephant is. Like we're
yeah,
supposed to feel."
exactly.
And
Yeah,
and
you were doing the right
always
thing.
my family, we always put together a gingerbread house, and I wasn't making a lot of money at this entry level
Oh,
position, and so I was like, "Oh, this is like I can get this gingerbread house." So yeah, I get that. It was
you
all
saw the
fun.
opportunity and took it. I
I
think
did,
that's very
I did.
respectable.
Yeah, I didn't regret it either at the end of the day. Okay, so let's kind of finish this up by, if we have students watching this that are like, wow, I want to do this. I think this is so
Mhm.
cool. I want my internship here. How can they apply for any, or how can they find out or apply for any future opportunities with PacSun?
Yeah, so definitely follow PacSun on LinkedIn and Instagram. And I would also go on LinkedIn and find their recruiting manager, and you
Yeah,
can message them and let them know you're interested, or just have them as one of your connections because they'll be posting
right.
offerings too. Um, and then also a lot of the interns I actually found out they started out in the PacSun stores, so as store associates, and they let you move up as an intern if you're interested. And a lot of the corporate employees actually started as like store associates. So
Wow. Okay.
If you're even looking for like the retail practicum job and you're thinking you would maybe eventually want a PacSun internship, you could try to get a job at PacSun and grow from there. But yeah, definitely LinkedIn and recruiting manager are a good first step.
Yeah, I think that's great. Do you just remember by chance? I mean, it changes year to
Mhm.
year, but do you remember by chance when they posted the internship opportunity on LinkedIn?
Very early because I uh, got my offer by February and it was a summer internship. So I
Okay.
think that I applied late December,
Okay.
in December or January.
Okay, that's good to know too,
Yeah.
because that's kind of a time period when a lot of students aren't
Look,
thinking about school
yeah.
because you
Well,
could get a break.
I'm seeing summer internships being posted now and
Right. Yes.
it's
Yeah.
full. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, some of them post. I think Urban Outfitters even theirs closes at like at some point in September. I mean, yeah, you
Mhm.
really do have to kind of think about where you would potentially want your internship and almost start like an Excel spreadsheet if if you're
Yeah.
serious about getting the one you want about when
Mhm.
they post. But
100%.
yeah, I just mean that the December, January, a lot of times students aren't thinking about school. They're on
Yeah.
holiday break. So
Yeah. Yeah. That's why you just scroll on LinkedIn for fun and then you'll just see
yeah.
it.
Add it to your repertoire of social media.
Yep.
Get on your
Yep.
TikTok, get on your Instagram. If you are old like me, get on your Facebook and then get on your LinkedIn.
Yep. There you go.
Well, I thank you so much for your time. I think this was fantastic insight and can help a lot of students, not just if they want an internship at PacSun, but I think you gave a lot of advice just in general of how to feel confident and comfortable that you are gaining the tools as you go through school to step into these roles. So thank you. Is there any kind of
Of
closing thing that
course.
you feel you'd like to say? Or, I mean, we did cover a lot, so don't feel you have to say anything.
Yeah, I just wanna say thank you for listening. I feel honored to even share. And yeah, just don't be afraid to just be yourself and the right opportunities will fall into your lap. So stay on top of updating your resume.
Perfect. I love it. Well,
Thank
thank you
you.
so much for your time.
Of course. Thank you.
All right. Bye.